Hello class and welcome back. As I mentioned in the data type lecture, should have been the video right before this, we went ahead and went over different types of data, and we're going to go ahead and focus on one of the more important ones, which is strings. There's a lot of really cool things you can do with strings, and they're probably going to be one of the more common data types you're going to run into everywhere you go. So, we already had some strings. I see some examples of them here, but let's just go ahead and make a new one. Hello. And if you want to check that is a string, go ahead and do the type. So you see we have a string. And then another reminder of a cool thing you can do with strings is they're not limited to the single line that you went ahead and put them on. So if you do triple quotations, hello, based on pressing Shift Enter. Hello world, this is a multi-line. And then if we go ahead and do type here, type message. Change this to message too, so it doesn't get confusing. Still a string, even though it's multi-line. We went ahead and printed these strings. So let's print message. Should be just one line. Reset it here. And then print message 2. This will be our multi-line string. Okay. So that's just a quick review of the print statement here, multi-line strings, and what is a string. So let's move on to something new, which is the interesting things you can do with strings. So the first one is we can go ahead and actually see how long a string is by len, it's a keyword for length. Message 1, or just message. And if we go ahead and run that, go ahead and tell us how long that is. So we went ahead and counted from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The spaces included 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there's 11 characters long. So the same thing will happen for message 2. It'll be much longer. It's 39 total characters. Great. So we can go ahead and check the length of a message. Why would that be helpful? An example is, say, your student ID is a set of numbers. All right, so we'll say it's always 10 numbers long. So if you're checking, this is where I was mentioning input validation. If you're asking a user for an input, you don't want them to write their name. You don't want them to write some sort of code snippet and cause problems for your program. You want the length, which you can use len to validate, to be exactly the length of student ID, which is, say, 10 characters. So you can use that for input validation. So length is a very helpful key term. So another thing that's helpful is being able to see if a value is inside of a string. So you can go ahead and do print, let's see, this in, which is another keyword, message 2. It's true. So the in statement produces a Boolean. So you can go ahead and do, if you wanted to say found this equals this, the brackets, this in message 2. So now we have set up variable, and then what kind of variable will that be? This. It's a Boolean. And then if we go ahead and print found this, not true, because this does appear here in message 2. But if we say want to do moon, moon is not in here. We go ahead and run this, still a Boolean, but it's going to go ahead and print false. So we can use that to do input validation to make sure that someone's name or a certain sequence of characters that we want to find in an input is found there. You can also use that to go through longer documents. Say if you wanted to scan a whole book and you wanted to know if the word spaghetti appears in that book. Well, rather than reading line by line yourself, you can have a code go through the entire thing and it'll tell you yes or no. if that term is found. That's getting ahead of myself. So let's go ahead and move on to another interesting thing you can do, which is slicing. So just go ahead and name it my slice and your message. We'll do our first one, which just a reminder is hello world. Then we do the square brackets, which is our to tell the program to slice it. And we're going to start from the beginning. So you add nothing and go to the 5th character. Let's go ahead and actually print that so we can see. Being, and as you see, our 5th character here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is hello. So this means to start from the beginning and go to the 5th character. So if we want to go ahead and change my slice over to, let's say we want world, right? So this is the 6th character where the space is. So we want to start here at the 7th character and go 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So let's go ahead and start at the 7th character and go to the 11th character. Oops, I miscounted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, because it begins at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah. So you got to do 6 because you have to put the starting point, which is before the thing you actually want. So it's going to start after that character. So this one says start after the beginning. But it's just like that. So this, if we slice it to the 11th character, which there's 11 total, we're going to get the whole thing. So add an exclamation mark at the top. And you're going to see, we're still only going to see my hello world rather than the exclamation mark I added. But if we go to the 12th character, we're going to get that exclamation mark. You can also break things up. Let's go ahead and just do another message. Message 3 equals quick brown fox jumps. And let's go ahead and slice this. We'll say starting from the 5th to the 10th character. So if we go ahead and set our variable message 3, we want the 5th through the 10th character. Let's go ahead and print message 3. As you'll see, it's not going to print the whole thing. It'll go ahead and print our slice, which is the 5th to the 10th character. Say we just want the first 10 characters. We go ahead and reset that. Print it out. Quick brown fox. We just get a quick BR. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 characters from the beginning because there's nothing there. So you can also, if you would want, you don't have to set it to print or set a variable. You can just run it in line and we'll give you the output here of a quick brown. So we'll go ahead and give you that. You don't have to set it and then print it if you want to do it a little faster. And then the last thing I want to talk about is changing a string. So you can modify a string, so it's going to print our message 3. Let's change our message 3. Let's not do a slice right now. Just get rid of all this. Okay. Set that as message 3. So say, as you see here, we have one capital and one lowercase, but say we want everything to be uppercase. So you can go ahead and print message 3, and then the operation symbol. So operation is the period, operation upper, and then we have no parameters. We just want it to be upper, and you'll see a quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog is now in all uppercase. And yes, if you wanted all lower, you could do the same thing. And as you see, that A, which was originally uppercase, remains uppercase. And then when we do lower, the A becomes lowercase. So it can be very helpful to force a format, like I mentioned, for input validation. There's one more full operation. And let's go ahead and change our message 3 a little bit. And let's go ahead and say we intentionally add a space here, a little bit of space there, right? So if we print, you see there's spaces here. and lower, we'll go ahead and print spaces. But say this was an accident or sometimes an intentional spaces left, sometimes it's not. But if you're trying to ensure that your input is uniform, a helpful little function is the strip operation, which will go ahead and remove all of those extra spaces, not in the middle, because those are very likely intentional, but those ones at the beginning and the end, just in case someone accidentally adds a space at the very end, or they add a space in the beginning. So, there is one more thing that we have already done previously, but I'm going to show it in the context of the string video rather than the print video, which is format. It's another operator or method that you can use on a string. So let's go ahead and just make a new string called myString equals my is, and then we're going to go ahead and use our placeholder, which is an index value of 0, which means the beginning. And then we're going to print my string, and then go ahead and use that operator on the format method. Do Luke. And since Luke is the first index value, you can see here 0 is our first one, and if we print this, it'll go ahead and say my name is Luke. So there's a lot of different things you can do with strings. As you see, you can change them to upper, lower. There's a ton of different methods that you can go ahead and research on your own. But I'm going to go ahead and stop talking here and let you jump into some practice on strings. I will go ahead and go over the first exercise with you in a video, and then I'll have you do the rest on your own.